Mr. Palmer, first of all, congratulations on an IPO.
Thank you.
What's your take on the share price? Are you a little bit disappointed?
No, look, we've taken 105 years to get to an IPO. I don't think we're going to worry too much about what the initial shares are doing. We'll always look over the longer term, and our plan and the plan on which we've IPO'd is very much a long-term growth plan.
Okay, what's next for Aston? What will you do in terms of profit? What will you focus on, and how will you create shareholder value?
Well, basically what we're bringing to market is our second century plan. And the second century plan at its most simple level is 7 cars in 7 years, 1 new car every year. Each car has a 7-year life, copy, repeat, copy, repeat, copy, repeat. And so far, we're 3 cars into that plan. We've launched the DB11, the Vantage, and the DBS Superleggera. And the next key car is coming from our new plant in Wales, the DBX, which is the first entry of Aston into the SUV market. That'll then be followed by a mid-engine car, and then basically the Lagonda, the 2 Lagondas, in fact, both of which will be pure EV.
Are you strong enough to survive the tech disruption alone, or do you see a need for a partner in the future?
Well, we have a great partner. In fact, 5% of our company is owned by Daimler, and Daimler is our technology partner, and that's a great partnership that we fall back on. So the electrical system and our V8 engines are basically coming from our friends at Daimler. Equally, we have a partnership with Red Bull Racing that helps us, of course, with Formula One racing, but also helps us with new platforms. Very high-tech platforms, for example, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, which comes to market next year. So we have those partnerships, and I think you see both Ferrari and ourselves basically as independent car makers starting now to do very well.
Yeah, I was thinking more of maybe a partnership with Google or someone who's a pure tech player. Will you need that to go into electric cars, into driverless cars?
I don't. I mean, look, what Google is doing and what Apple is doing is interesting, and of course what Daimler is equally doing, and other companies around the world. So there's not an exclusivity to the likes of Google. There's lots of ways that you can develop that autonomous driving technology, either by yourselves or with partners.
Andy Palmer, when will a full electric car actually be on the market?
Well, our first electric car comes on the market at the end of next year, so end of 2019. The Rapide E will be making 155, so very limited edition of those cars. Selecting, we're in the fortunate position to be able to select our own customers, and the data loggers will get the quantitative data, the customers will give us the qualitative data, and this is really important intellectual property that we will then carried through to the Lagonda range, which we launch in 2021.
What about the hybrid SUV?
Hybrids, we start with hybrids with the SUV, and in fact, by the middle of the 2020s, all Aston Martins will be hybridized, and indeed all Lagondas will be fully electric.
We understand that Ferrari had a look at Aston to evaluate a purchase. Do you know why a tie-up never actually happened with Ferrari?
Well, I wasn't there then. I mean, I read the reports of yesterday, but I can't comment on them because I simply wasn't involved.
I mean, if you look at your valuations, is Ferrari kind of, the person to beat? Do you feel like you're the challenger to Ferrari now?
Look, we've been around 105 years, and Ferrari's been around 70 years, so maybe Ferrari is the challenger.
You really think that's true? I mean, given the multiples and valuations, do you think they need to catch up with you?
Look, Ferrari's an awesome company, and they trailblazed the principle of a car maker that can also be luxury, and we've been able to benefit from that. I think we sell to slightly different clients, and I think there's more than enough room for both of us to be successful.
I wanted just to come back on the pricing of the IPO very quickly. It was set near the bottom of the range, Mr. Palmer. Still a tenfold increase into your value in, I think, a little more than 5 years. How did investors react to that pre-IPO? What were the factors that actually pushed the price down a bit?
Well, one of the key points was that we wanted to choose a very high quality book. So we wanted investors in the book that were looking at the long term, not simply at the short term. And in choosing the price, we've also been able to select what I would call a really awesome book of investors.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Palmer. One final question. Do you worry about trade? Does that impact Aston Martin more now that you're listed? Trade wars, trade tensions, whatever you want to call them?
Trade wars. Look, the benefit of being selling to high net worth individuals is that they tend to be a little bit less price sensitive. So there's obviously an ability to trade on tariffs to some extent. Now, look, if you look at the wars like Brexit, so if that's a war, then basically yes, we could lose a little bit of market share in Europe, but we'll gain market share in the United Kingdom. So in the end, these things tend to be a wash. And again, you have to look beyond the immediacy. You have to look a little bit at the longer term, and these things tend to iron themselves out.